getting love. Y'all got that I'm in love face. Some of y'all's coordinated. Like match, love. That's how you know a couple are really in love. They just be matching. It's like all the time. Like at the grocery store matching. And they great sweats. Woo! I am into the gym like a week. I'm a little tired. I'm like, doing all that dancing. My name is Chanté Griffin. I'm single. I say it like that because when you tell people you're single, they act like you have a disease. Like, you know, it's the intro to an AA meeting. My name is Chanté Griffin. I'm a black single woman. Like, it's a condition you're gonna have forever. And you always have to say that when you meet people, so that's what I say. But I like being single. Like, I do. Like, when I was in college, I started taking myself out to lunch just because I was like, so I was at the college, you know, little restaurant, I was sitting there like, this is good. And some of my friends came to me like, Chanté, do you want to sit with us? And I was like, no, I don't want to sit with you. I'm taking myself out right now. And they're like, okay, they look real confused, right? And so I'm one of 4 cousins. We're all in our music. And so the third one was getting married, right? And so my little cousin was like, Chanté, you're next. And I was like, who said I wanted to be next? Like, I'm free. Like, I am. I'm like a bird free. Like, I wake up when I want to. If I don't want to cook, I don't have to cook. I don't have to compliment anybody. I don't have to check in. Can I go to Texas? I do whatever I want, whenever I want, because I'm single. So if you're single and you're free, say, hey, thank you. Thank you. I'm free. And I'm happy. That's all right. I'm happy. Woo. Now, I'm not opposed to getting married. Like, I love relationships, so don't think I'm a hate on love all night. I'm not. I even brought y'all some prizes. Okay, but you have to participate with me. Y'all gonna participate?
Yeah.
Okay. So, first, let's start with the single people because they're my favorite because we're the same. So, single people, what's the best thing about being single? Just yell it out. Best thing about being single.
I can wake up when I want to.
Wake up when you want to. What else?
It's your money.
That's it right there. He already won. Already. Here you go. Here you go. Come on, grab it. Come on, grab it. And tell him what you want. Tell him what you want.
Let's see. One dinner out, treat yourself, and we ain't.
That's right. Treat yourself. That's it. You won that prize. Right there. All right. Any dating couples, like not married? I don't think so. Everybody look. Okay. Married couples. Okay. So, what's the best thing about being married?
Companionship.
Companionship. That's good.
It's her money.
It's her money.
He got a practice.
Who's that good for? Like, I don't know. Okay, it's good for her.
I married my best friend.
You married your best friend. All right, guys, this is the chance to get those brownie points. Man, y'all gotta raise your hands and say something. Yes.
The ability to connect on an emotional level.
If there was a BS meter in this room, if there was a BS meter, it'd be going off.
I got one.
What?
Because she's my rib.
Oh, you get another rib? Okay. What else? One last, and then we gonna vote. Yes.
Free childcare.
Free childcare. Think about that, no, for real. Like, that's true, but you had to have a baby to get free childcare. So I think you're in the negative, actually. I'm just saying. Okay, who said companion? Okay, I'm gonna give you this. This is right here for y'all.
I told you to see my rib.
Y'all. Okay, tell them what you want.
Tell them what we want.
Tell them what you want.
A night of love, one free walk in the park.
See how we do, y'all? You all right? Keep the love alive. That's how you keep the love alive. I'm dropping my cards. That's how you do it. I hope my dress don't split, you know? Because that's how we do it. All right. Tonight is about love. Married love, single love, loving on yourself, you hate love, you love love, whatever. But before we get to the comedians, I want to tell you a little bit about me. Is that okay? Yeah. And this is real talk. And I'm going to get some stuff off my chest. Is that okay? Okay, so I'm from LA. I work in TV. I act. What'd you say?
Can you grab that mic?
Greg, I need another mic. Okay.
Yeah, that one's going in.
Okay. That's fine. How's this one doing?
Yeah, that's
Is that good? Okay, good. I'm gonna come back and do it from the beginning. Oh, girl. Are we good? All right. Okay. So I'm from LA. I grew up in LA. It's my home. It's a lot of women there. Like, it is hard to be a single woman in LA. It is just because every day, like 1,000 beautiful women fly in, like every single day. Like they were homecoming queen, they was Miss Texas, USA or whatever, and they all come in. And so the men are just like, we ain't got to choose, like let's date forever. And they just go from one person. So that's why I'm still single. At least that's what I tell myself, right? And so I go to church, and there's a lot of Christian women who believe and they say that Jesus is their husband. Now, I am also an English teacher, and so I just want to, if you've done that, that's okay because it's kind of scriptural, but I just want to break down to you why you should not say that. Okay, so it says in the book of Isaiah, like, for your maker, you know, your maker's your husband, but he's talking to a group of people, like not one person, right? Because I think we take it like literally when it's like figurative, like Jesus isn't physically, literally your husband. Like, it's like an analogy. Like, and it's supposed to show like a type of commitment, and then that's it. But I feel like the ladies have taken it a little too far, and so I'm gonna tell you what you should not do. Like, if you go out to dinner, right? Like you go and you're like, I'm going on a date with Jesus, and you get all dressed up. That's fine, right? Like, you get there and you get to the fancy restaurant, and then at the end, you walk out and you say, Jesus gonna pay for it. Like, you a crook, and you going to jail, right? So like that don't really work out. Like, and so if you say that Jesus is your husband, and you want, like, later on we gonna dance, and you say, well, we gonna dance, like, this is what you gonna look like.
Always and forever.
What'd you say? You're so pretty. Don't let that be you, ladies. Don't let that be y'all. No, it's not a good look. It's not attractive. It's not. You know, and you definitely should not. Don't do this. Don't mind Jesus. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Jesus gonna be like, I don't know her. Woo! All right, I'm glad I got that off my chest. Y'all ready for the real comedians? Y'all ready for the real comedians? Okay, so y'all got me talking to myself like I'm crazy. You got to fix that. So I'm gonna say, y'all ready for the next comedian? You're gonna say, yeah, yes. Yeah. Is that good? Is that what y'all, does that work? What do y'all say in Texas?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so y'all ready for the next? I don't know. Okay, y'all ready for the next comedian?
Yeah!
All right, our first comedian is an award-winning motivational speaker. As a cancer survivor, educator, and published author, he has traveled all over the United States, inspiring students and employees. In 2004, he published the book, Help, My Boss is an Idiot. He says it was a bestseller among his family members. Sometimes that's all the only people to buy it. That's okay. For the past year and a half, he has been shining the light on stages in the DFW Metroplex as a stand-up comedian. Will you help me welcome to the stage Michael Yeary, aka Michael.
Yeah. This here is that ice cold Michelle fight for that white gold. This here for them church girls, them good girls. I'm gonna start right there. Okay. Y'all give it up one more time for our host tonight, Chanté. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I do some racy stuff. I get a little adult. So everybody in here is above the age of 18. All right. This is a night of love. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I was feeling a little bit concerned, and then Chanté got up here talking about back that thing up. I said, I guess we gonna be all right. Them folks from LA a little different, ain't they? I go to church here in Texas. But anyway, I want to thank Corey, aka Cino, for inviting me out. He wanted me to warm up the crowd, or not warm up the crowd, but go in front of him and all of that. So here's what I need you to do. I need everybody to just roll your shoulders a little bit. All right? I'm gonna tell y'all like I tell my wife. I hope you enjoy this next 3 minutes. I'm gonna give you everything I got. All right, but even if you don't find it pleasurable, I ain't gonna be mad at you if you fake it. I ain't gonna be mad at you at all. So this evening is benefiting the Hymn Center. We appreciate all of y'all being out here tonight. So I was doing a little research on the Hymn Center. It's great to raise money for a great organization. It does a lot of community work. One of the things that it does is sexual education, right? So I've been married for 14 years. My beautiful black queen is right here next to me. To it for a minute. So, my wife is a graduate of the University of Texas. I know we're right here in Austin. I'll address that later. All right. And so she's also a medical doctor. You got that, Corey? So she's also a medical doctor. Have you ever wanted to ask a doctor an inappropriate question? Right. I get to do that all the time. Like the other day, I said, babe, is it scientifically proven that black men are bigger than other men? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So she likes to mess with me. She says, well, Michael, every black man I've ever examined has been pretty large. And then she looked at me and she said, and you? Well, you're half white. Let me explain something. Both of my parents are African Americans. They are black. But my grandmother, well, we don't really know. She's from the hills of East Tennessee. They called her a mulatto, right? So I didn't know what that term meant. So I looked it up. And when you Google the term mulatto, it literally means you don't know who your father is. This is the young like that. too real right now. So anyway, so I said, okay, so there's a part of me that's white, but which part of me is white? I said, is it my credit score that's white? That's not on time. I said, is it my education that's white? I went to Texas A&M University. Any Aggies in the house? No? Look, I graduated. To this day, I do not know what an Aggie is, other than, I'm sure it's pretty white. Whatever it is. Get them. That's the whitest thing ever, right? I said, or is it the way I conjugate my nouns and verbs? Is that white? She said, your dangling participle is white. That joke kills in English classes. English majors in the building. My father told me, never let your participle dangle in the dirt. That's what
This next comedian, y'all, he is something else. All right. Corey Tabor, aka Cino, has been performing all of his life. He began singing in church at the age of 4 years old and began public speaking at the young age of 12. He participated in acting as a middle school student and went on to become a state semifinalist in original oratory. While at college at the University of Texas at Austin, Torrey continued his performing career by writing and producing a gospel CD called Unconditional Praise with Inner Visions Gospel Choir. Okay, he got skills. Finally, after years of performing as a musician, singer, and speaker, C-Note began his comedy career in 2008. Since then, he has produced his first DVD entitled C-Note Presents I Grew Up in Church, where he shares stories from growing up as a preacher's kid. You don't want to miss an evening with C-Note as he combines comedy and music to inform, instruct, and inspire. Ladies and gentlemen, A Night of Love presents C-Note!
What up, y'all? Y'all having a good time tonight? Don't y'all like this song right here? Turn it up a little bit, DJ. Have y'all heard this before? It's Kurt Franklin song. You know, Kurt Franklin can't sing. But he'll talk to you through the whole song. Yeah, you hear me? Y'all don't understand what I'm saying? Wave your hands in the air right now. You don't understand. I'm tired of being around. If you're tired of being the same, tired of things not changing, time for you to get out the way. Get out the way. God, move in. Get how you feel. Come on, stack your hands together. We can do this without going up. This is a sin. Come on, everybody, sing it. If you want to be happy. Anybody want to be happy? Wave your hand. Thank you, DJ. Anybody want to be happy? Woo! I want to be happy! And so that's what I did. I understood that marriage is not for that. If you want to be happy, that's not the reason to get married. Friends, family members, co-workers, neighbors, cousins, marriage is not a way to get happy. Gary Thomas in his book, Sacred Marriage, says, what if God didn't design marriage to make you happy, but to make you holy? He said, what God does in the midst of marriage, he puts somebody in front of you that's your exact opposite. That gets on your last nerve. And you gotta love him anyway. The reason he does that is because you are so opposite of God. And God's like, I want you to feel what I feel like sometimes. I'll be like, why are they doing that? Why they get on my nerves? See, what's interesting is if you do like you're supposed to do before you get married and don't live together, there's a lot of stuff about the person you don't necessarily know when you get married. Like, because you go home at night, you don't understand how they work their world. You know what I'm saying? So little things cause challenges when people get married. You know, the Bible says two shall become one flesh. And the reality is we spend most of our lives trying to figure out which one we're going to become. You know what I'm saying? You be like me, no, 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 today we're going to be like me. You know, and so, you know, little issues start happening in the household. Things like rolling the toothpaste the wrong way. You know, people are like, why do you do it like that? That's the way I've always done it. What you mean that's the way you go? Why have y'all always done it that way? I don't know, that's just the way my mama did it. Well, why did your mama do it? I don't know. Quit asking me all them questions. Well, you want me to understand, don't you? Yeah, I want you to understand. Well, quit asking me questions. Well, how am I supposed to understand if I don't ask you questions? Because you always trying to figure out what's going on with me. Why you just don't understand me? And we don't understand you because you are different. Men and women are exactly different. The psychology of a man and a woman are completely different. Like men are unilateral beings, y'all. We have a one-track mind. Do you hear what I'm saying? Our brains cannot cross hemispheres. And so if you talk to me while I'm playing football, or watching football rather, I don't hear you. I really do not hear you. It's not that I'm ignoring you. It's literally my mind is focused on this game. And unless you help me understand what you were trying to say and tell me, baby, I want to say something to you, can you pause the game? I want to thank God for DVR. It has saved my marriage multiple times. My wife comes out and pushes the button. I stop. I said, baby, you have my undivided attention for the next 59 minutes. Because I can only hold for 59 minutes. So about minute 27, I'm like, halfway through. I don't know what I'm going to do. And she's in there like really just sharing her whole heart. You know, that's what women often do is share their hearts all 4 quadrants of their heart. You know, it's like, man, you got the right valve and the left valve and the top valve and the bottom valve. I'm like, man, how many hearts do you have? You just don't understand how I feel. I'm like, I don't know how you have all the feelings. Because men, we don't really feel as, okay, we feel as deeply, we just don't show you, you know what I'm saying? So when we get upset, we go to the room and cry. When you get upset, you just cry right there in front of us, you know what I'm saying? I can't believe you said that. I know, baby, I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I take it back. I take it back. Can I take it back? I mean, just like you take stuff back to the store after you buy it, can I take it back? No, it's really interesting, man. I was looking at this situation. My wife is an amazing woman, y'all. Did y'all see how beautiful she is when she walks in here? In August, we would have been together 17 years. We're going to have been married in June 13 years. So we get close to that boring sex Mike was talking about. Anyway, so I was always asking myself the question. I was like, man, what can I do to really love my wife well? And one of the things I've discovered is my wife really likes you to think about her in everything that you do. Like, she wants to be considered in everything that you do. And so one of the things that she struggles with is she has very high sensory modes. Like, my wife can hear better than a superhero. And her ears just work. Like, she can hear stuff way across town. I'm like, you know, she has an ability to smell stuff, like, very deeply. It's like, what is that? I'm like, baby, that's like down the street, lay in the bathroom. She can smell it, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, where did you get this from? You know, we can be driving, and I'm like, baby, which way do I go? Turn left, you don't remember that? I'm like, no, I don't remember that. GPS is my friend. My wife is a internal GPS. I just sense it. We're supposed to make a right. And I learned after about 6 years of getting lost just to listen to her. You know what I'm saying? She said, let's go right. I'm like, shoot, she knows what she's talking about. GPS like, don't do that. I'm like, nah, you understand. I have the real GPS in my house already. You know what I'm saying? She got God's positioning system. The Holy Spirit be telling her, don't go that way. It's a traffic jam. I'm saying, I'm like, where do you get this stuff from? Like, straight downloads from heaven. Downloads from heaven. Right down. Oh, this is hilarious, man. So her hearing sensory causes my life to be a little bit complicated because I try to be quiet. But I'm not really good at being quiet. Like, I weigh a little bit more than I did when we got married. And so when I walk in the house, you just might hear me. You know, and so I wake up earlier than her oftentimes in this season of my life, and life is seasonal. So in a couple of months, I'll probably wake up after her, but that's just the way it is, you know. So right now I'm waking up before her, and so one of the things I have to do when I wake up, any of y'all have to go to the bathroom when you wake up? Like, that's one of the first things you got to do is go to the bathroom, right? Now, women have an advantage in going to the bathroom because they are closer to the toilet, if you understand that. Like, you get a chance to decline, to sit down. And you know, men, really part of our manness is to be able to stand up and aim straight. You go to the bathroom. I mean, that's something that if I had a son, that would be like the game of life at 2 years old. Like, hit the target, hit the target, man, hit the target. And so what I discovered is, when I try to get up and use the restroom when she's asleep, it's too loud. So you can't control the scream, you know, quite the right way. So, you know, you got this. What are you doing in there? Black people say bathroom. It's not the bathroom. So what I discovered was I gotta do like her and take away my manhood just a little bit and sit down. So I sit down to use it, you know, so I don't make as much noise, so they hit the front of the toilet instead of hitting the water in the toilet, and it'll roll down. So in the process of doing that, sometimes I get caught up in a little story in the newspaper on my phone. I might get caught up on Facebook while you know, my legs might fall asleep. Things like that start to happen. And so one day I was doing that, and I was like, man, okay, it's time for me to get up and get ready for work. When I stood up, my bottom had stuck to the toilet. And everyone said, "Clap!" What you doing? Bathroom. So then I get in the closet, and we have one of those half ironing boards that drops down like that off the door. Problem with it is, every time it drops off the door, it goes boom. It's just this noise, right? And then when I iron on it, it's going, it's like a noise that it creates, right? I don't hear none of this while I'm doing it. But she in there like, what you doing? I'm like, babe, I'm ironing my clothes. So then I get out, right? And I walk out of the room after I got dressed, you know, I done let the water roll real quiet while I'm brushing my teeth, you know. I done walked out and I tiptoe out and I try to close the door and it's like, and then I like turn the handle, I was like, And she looked at me like, what you doing? I mean,